Desmond Doss, America's Faith Under Fire. There are moments in history when the true soul of the United States reveals itself, not in speeches, not in politics, not even in victory parades, but in moments of unbearable pressure, when everything human collapses and only conviction remains. In the fires of World War II, when freedom itself was under threat and the world was drowning in blood, America sent its sons across the ocean. Among them was one man who carried no rifle, no hatred, and no desire to destroy. Yet what he carried into battle would shake the foundations of military history. His name was Desmond Thomas Doss, and his story represents the highest ideals this nation has ever stood for. World War II was not just a conflict of nations. It was a battle for civilization, for faith, and for the belief that freedom was worth dying for. The Pacific Theater tested American soldiers beyond imagination. Jungle warfare, relentless heat, disease, exhaustion, and an enemy that refused surrender turned every island into a graveyard. Okinawa became the final proving ground, a place where courage was measured not by words, but by blood. It was here that the United States Marine Corps and the U.S. Army faced one of the fiercest defensive positions of the entire war. Desmond Doss arrived on that battlefield not as a conqueror, but as a servant. Raised in a God-fearing American home, taught from childhood that life was sacred, Desmond believed with every fiber of his being that God did not call him to kill, but to protect life. When America called, he answered without hesitation. He did not burn draft cards. He did not protest the flag. He volunteered. He stood up for his country while kneeling before God. That alone defines the very essence of American freedom, the right to serve with conscience. His refusal to carry a weapon made him a target among his own brothers in arms. He was insulted, threatened, beaten, and isolated. Men who would later owe him their lives once called him a coward. Officers tried to court-martial him, but Desmond Doss never raised his fists. He never cursed his country. He simply stood firm, believing that God would use him where he was needed most, and the battlefield would soon prove him right. When bullets began to fly, everything changed. In Guam and Leyte, Desmond ran directly into firestorms to reach wounded Americans screaming for help. While others sought cover, he exposed himself completely. Blood soaked his hands. Shrapnel ripped through the ground around him. Still, he moved forward. His courage earned him bronze stars, but more importantly, it earned him the respect of men who no longer doubted his heart. Then came Okinawa. Okinawa was hell unleashed. Artillery never stopped. The ground shook day and night. American soldiers advanced knowing that every step forward could be their last. Above them stood the Maeda escarpment, a towering cliff that dominated the battlefield. The men called it Hacksaw Ridge. Whoever held that ridge controlled Okinawa. Whoever failed there would pay in blood. When American forces finally climbed the cliff and secured the top, hope flickered briefly. Then the enemy counterattacked with savage force. Explosions tore through the lines. Machine gun fire cut men down where they stood. Orders came to retreat. Wounded soldiers were abandoned in the chaos. Men screamed for help as the line collapsed. And then, in the middle of that nightmare, one American stayed. Desmond Doss did not retreat. He did not fire back. He did not hide. While others descended the cliff, he moved deeper into danger, alone, completely exposed. With bullets cracking past his head and grenades exploding around him, he searched for wounded Americans. He dragged them through fire. He bandaged shattered limbs. He whispered prayers over dying men. One by one, he carried them to the edge of the cliff and lowered them to safety with a rope. Each time he spoke the same words to God, "Lord, help me get one more." God answered, again and again and again. By nightfall, approximately 75 American soldiers were alive because one man refused to leave them behind. 75 families would not receive telegrams of death. 75 futures were saved by faith under fire. Hardened combat veterans openly wept when they realized what Desmond had done. In that moment, ridicule turned into reverence. Even then, his sacrifice was not finished. In later fighting, a grenade exploded near Desmond, tearing into his body. He refused evacuation until others were treated first. As medics finally carried him away, a sniper's bullet shattered his arm. In unimaginable pain, he improvised a splint from a rifle, a weapon he never carried, and continued directing aid to others. This was not weakness. This was not hesitation. This was American courage at its purest form. After the war, President Harry Truman placed the Medal of Honor around Desmond Doss's neck. Looking at him, Truman said he was more proud to award that medal than he was to be President of the United States. Desmond Doss became the first conscientious objector in American history to receive the nation's highest military honor. He earned it not by destroying life, but by defending it, not by hatred, but by love, not by force, but by faith. Desmond Doss proved that America's strength is not only found in its weapons, but in its values, that God and country are not enemies, but allies, that the greatest heroes sometimes are the quietest men on the battlefield. This is not just the story of a soldier. This is the story of American faith under fire. This is the story of honor without compromise. This is the story of a man who walked into hell without a weapon and came out a legend. This is Desmond Doss.